Hi, this is Phil, the founder. You just saw me take a sip of wine, and I'm ready to paint a step into Tranquility, starting off with the sky. This is our first shoe paint and sip demonstration. We decided to open a YouTube channel for our fans and guests. It's optional. You don't need any paint and sip experience, any art experience. We'll walk you through it step by step. But getting back to the painting, you can see I've finished the sky almost, and I'm blocking in the yellow ochre for the steps. On the right, you'll see a graphic of the painting we're doing. It switches views to keep you informed about how it's going to be looking. I think that's very important to see what we're doing at the same time looking forward to the end result. I think there's a lot to be learned just by doing that. It's like an eye in the future. We're coming up to blocking the red on the flowers on the top of the steps. So I'm going to fast forward and just jump to that or after that because it's pretty boring. It's the same. And there we go. As you can see, I'm starting to put the shadows into the pillars. Let's look at some of the shadows on the steps. By the way, we're coming up on another view, a time-lapse view. There it is. And this is a little faster speed from a different camera, faster time-lapse. And as you notice, I'm slowly closing in, showing us like a more detailed view. A little closer. That's enough. Let's finish up the greens. I get a lot of requests after an event. A lot of the guests will come up to me and they will ask me if there's a place they can go where they can get acrylic lessons, so they can do a better job when they're here. And of course, I help them, but at the same time, they like to get better at what they're doing. So I am considering doing sort of a more in-depth, not a class, but well, maybe a class. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about it. But I think I know what they want to do. Yes, they want to come to the party, want to have a good time. But I'm thinking about offering classes so that because people are getting interested in art and they don't want to go to academia, they don't want to invest a lot. They just want to come once in a while, pay for a class, and learn a little bit more than they have when they come to our parties. So that's certainly something I'll think about in the future. And if anybody's interested out there, give us a call. If I get a few names together, I'll do one. Why not? I've been blocking in the blue water, and while we were talking, I was looking at another sip of wine. Uh, while we were talking, I was thinking about that, and I may, in hindsight, just in the beginning, just paint it blue and just work on the highlights. So when you come, that's some of the things that we do. We get another look at it, see if we can streamline it, make it easier, make it faster, make it quicker, because we have a 3-hour time restraint. So it's very important for us to think about that for our guests and make sure they're successful at doing their painting and having a good time too, which is a real feat. I mean, my artists are great when it comes to figuring out steps that we don't actually need that we can put on top of the other, and that's what I just did. When you come in to do this painting, what we'll do is we'll probably block in the blue like we did with the stairs, the yellow, color the water blue, and then what we will do is add the highlights and reflections on top of that blue rather than in the beginning. There's 1,000 ways you can start and finish a painting. So in hindsight, it'll be much easier when you come in just to go over the blue, and we'll just add the lily pads and the highlights on top of the water. But now what I'm doing is I'm just going into the detail. This is like the most fun part, and it's the hardest to explain because there's a lot. I'm moving all over the place. I'm just picking little places out where I can add a little highlight, and that's where the real trick comes in, and that's what I like to teach. How to do all these what I call scintillation, just little specks of light here and there that brings the painting to life. Because when people ask me to help them, the first thing I do is I look for the darks, I look for the lights, and there's some tricks on how to loosen the paint and move the paint. And that's what I'm willing to teach. It's not appropriate at a party, but if we had a art class, I would definitely get into more detailed explanation of what's going on and how we do it. Because, like I said, it's a party, not an art class, so uh, we get a little bit more in depth. How to hold a brush and what to do with it. It's really not that hard. It's not that mystifying. It's just the simple techniques. When I when I'm asked what I do, I just say to people I've always been an artist. I never knew when I wasn't an artist. I'm an entrepreneur and I notice things. That's it. Back to the painting. I picked up a sponge and this is a lot of fun. Instant gratification. It makes everything just pretty and it really gets things done quickly. The sponge isn't that simple. You have to look at the nooks and crannies. I generally look at the sponge and see how the design is on the sponge, where the paint is applied to the sponge, and I'm looking at the negative areas. When I apply it, I rotate it a little bit so I don't get sort of a stamp look. And that's a little unnatural. The pressure means a lot too. Just sometimes there's a little light touch, and sometimes you got to push a little bit, but it's something that once you learn it, it's really a lot of fun. I don't use the sponge on my fine art because I think I owe the collector more craft, more detail, and a nice finish. It works great for paint and sip, but like I said before, when it comes down to the fine art, it's not a technique that fits my style or my brushwork. So I don't generally use it for my fine art. In the near future, I will do a vlog on my fine art. I'll explain why I stay close to a more masterful finished appearance um, for integrity and quality to sell the art to galleries. Coming up, you'll see me quickly look at the face of the sponge. There it is. When you come to the event, we'll give you a paper plate where you can practice before you actually apply paint to the canvas. So we're going to speed it up now to get through it towards the end. It's a time lapse with a slightly different view, and this will take a few seconds, and you'll start to see me apply this rather vigorously with the time lapse. But each stroke, I am actually taking a look at what I'm doing. I'm looking at the sponge, and I'm thinking about where I want to apply it, where the highlights are. And there's a little trick to it, but when you come in, we'll show you. Now the finishing touches. This is the most fun. This is what I like to do the best. I'm actually I'm working on a painting now called East of the Sun. I would say it's 90% finished, and I'm applying the finishing touches. I will probably do that on a very soon blog. And there it is. That's East of the Sun, the graphic on your right. And I will probably be doing that, I would say, within the first 2 or 3 vlogs. So stay tuned, and you'll see me finish it up. Okay, let's go back to step into Tranquility. And here we are. I'm just putting the scintillation, the little dots, those little highlights, those little reflections. It all makes a big difference. Oh, one more thing before I forget. We have a sister piece to Step in Tranquility called Step into Calm. That's it. It's a little bluer. It's pretty. We have steps. We have, tropical water, tropical places. So if you want to come and do both, that would be super great. But like I said, they would probably look really great together on your wall. Um, by the way, we do sell frames. As we finish it up, we have to remember that it's time to drop the brush. You can overdo this. I just use my fingers here and there, and a little couple touches, and I think I should call it a day. Uh, Take my drink of wine. Another day painting at Art and Vino. Thank you all for visiting. I appreciate you listening. And don't forget us to give us a like or follow us. It'd be much appreciated. Hope to see you soon at Art and Vino. Bye now.